Let's go back to the story now. As the nation awaits tomorrow's State of the Nation address, anti-gender-based violence groups hope the president will announce effective support measures for victims of gender-based violence. We're now joined by Siyabulela Jentile once again, who is the president of the Civil Rights Movement, #NotInMyName. And Siyabulela joins us via our video link. Let's try it again one more time. Siyabulela, what are your expectations as a Not In My Name when it comes to the State of the Nation address that will be delivered tomorrow, specifically focusing on gender-based violence issues?
Good evening, Mbali, and good evening to the viewers. Sorry about what happened earlier. Two things for me which I'm expecting the president to address. One, he must announce the date of the elections so that we can vote for a better government that will take the needs of the victims and survivors of gender-based violence serious. Secondly, I'm hoping that the president could come out and reshuffle, or rather tell us that he has changed the leadership of the Department of Social Development, which is in disarray. I mean, not so long ago, we've heard of a story of a missing 100 million, which was meant for GBV survivors and victims. Not so long ago, the minister came out and the deputy minister came out saying two different stories on one issue around the collapse of the gender-based violence command center. So for me, those are the two key things, because without proper leadership in place, all these other interventions, whether they are legislative and otherwise, they are not going to do anything when we don't have the right people for the job.
And when you look at this administration that comes to an end later this year, when we hold the 2024 general elections, it's an administration that has said that it will prioritize femicide or gender-based violence as a whole in this country. I mean, the president even created a number of programs to address the issues around gender-based violence in this country. It was even named a second pandemic after COVID-19. When you look at how this administration has dealt with gender-based violence, how would you characterize it?
I mean, it's one thing to say that you've got measures and interventions on paper. It's another thing to have them practically implemented on the ground. And I say this as someone who's working the ground with many other activists in South Africa who are speaking in one voice to say that this administration continues to fail activists, it continues to fail the victims and survivors, and it definitely continues to fail the general public of South Africa. And so hence we say that we cannot wait for the announcement of the election day so that we can vote better and vote for a government that will put the needs of South Africans first. They have come out many times, they have set up systems, set up funds, but the very same funds are being stolen by the very same administrators of this government. And so for us, whether they are doing their best, it's neither here or there. What we want to see right now, because we have been talking, Bali, I can't remember how many times I've spoken to you on this program about this very same issue. And it seems as though we are taking a step forward and two steps backwards. So really, I am not so much interested in what the president has to say in that fashion show of tomorrow. What I want him to mention is the date of the election. And then one of the best things to say is to tell us that, the minister has been fired and been replaced with someone who's more competent to do the job.
And when it comes to this administration, clearly one can tell that you are not impressed and you're not happy with the interventions which have been made, but you're saying progress has been slow here. What would you like to see as civil rights movements, as gender-based violence groups in this country, when it comes to dealing head-on with issues and problems surrounding gender-based violence?
We want competent leaders, Mbali, and I say this because we've got very good legislative framework in paper. We have got very good plans. We've got the National Strategic Plan, we've got this and this plan, we've got, the President signed into law other legislative pieces around strengthening the criminal justice system, and all those things are well and good. But our major failure is when it comes to implementation, which is why I believe that what we need to see now as civil rights groups, as activists working within the gender-based violence and femicide space, is that we need people who are passionate about the work that we do. We need to have activists leading these departments. We need to have a clear indication in a line of march. I mean, we've got redundant departments such as that one of women and youth and people with disabilities, which we don't know what exactly is its role, because it seems to be, slacking, it seems to be misplaced. It's also not sure whether it's going or coming. So our biggest issue on the ground is that we've got a leadership void, and if the leadership void can be closed, I don't think we've got a shortage of hands on the ground. We don't have a shortage of activists. We've got a media like yourself that is very supportive of the work that we do. We've got millions of South Africans, good men and women, who are saying no to gender-based violence. However, where we fail at the level of leadership. People who lack the political will to do the right thing. People who are always in newspapers and in news bulletins for wrong reasons. So change leadership, and then we'll start seeing progress in the fight against gender-based violence and femicide.